So you're considering moving to Sacramento, California, are you? I moved here myself about 7 years ago. And today we're going to go through kind of some of the things that I wish I had known before I started moving here. I found out later on, or I found out during the moving process, some of these things. And I'm glad I did. But there's some pretty important things that you might want to know before you actually pick up roots, buy a house here in Sacramento. So we're going to get into it right after this. We're going to sit down and discuss things you ought to know, things you need to take into consideration, things that might be pretty important to you and might save you a little bit of money. So yeah, let's get into it real quick. Before we do, we have people all the time reaching out to us to move to Sacramento, California. We'd love to help you, so get in contact with us. Numbers below, and we'll help you get through, navigate the issues and stuff, and we'll get you through the process and help you get situated here. But yeah, reach out, and if you like this video, subscribe and hit the like button. And also hit the bell button, and that way you'll get notified anytime we put up a new video. But yeah, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'll be glad to help you out. One of the things that you need to know about, it's a California thing, especially here in Sacramento, it's called Melo ruse. A lot of places, like when I was in Texas, and the way Texas would do whenever they would put do something to improve the streets or to put in a new neighborhood or repave streets or anything like that that were really bad, they would issue bonds. The bonds would be paid off over a period of time, and they would usually raise the sales tax or something like that by 0.25% or something like that. Here, they use something called a Melo ruse. And they'll put a tax on the neighborhood that the improvements are going into. Now, my understanding is 2/3 of the homeowners in that area have to vote and approve of the Melo ruse in order for the Melo ruse to be funded. But if you got 2/3 of the homeowners in a certain area, and they decide they want all their streets paved, or they want a new sewer system put in, or whatever, they can vote on it. They can put in an initiative, have it voted on, and if it passes by 2/3 majority, then you're stuck paying the taxes. And those taxes can be an extra added on to whatever your property taxes and everything else is. And it can last for, anywhere from 5 years up to 30, 40 years, I guess. I don't know how long the maximum it can go for, but it's something that would hit you every month. So when you're looking for a new house, one of the first questions you want to ask is it in a Melo ruse? And if it's in a Melo ruse, and that's MELLOROOS, you want to know how much it is and how long the Melo ruse is going to go for. Make sure you find this out. This should all be included on a National Hazards Disclosure Form. But regardless, that's one of the first questions you want to ask when you're talking to your real estate agent. Hey, does this thing have Melo ruse on it? If it does, find out how much it is and how long it's going to go for, so that you know what the extra payments were going to be and how much you're going to have to pay every month on it. And that's going to be included, of course, in your escrow payments that you do with your mortgage broker, unless, of course, you pay cash. Then you're going to be paying it out of your own pocket every month. But you're going to be paying it out of your own pocket anyway. But it'll be included with your payment and put it in an escrow account. It'll be paid off with your normal tax rates. Number 2, electricity providers. There's 2 electricity providers in the Sacramento region. One is PG&E, and the other one is SMUD, S-M-U-D. PG&E is for profit. It's a public-owned utility. It's traded on the stock exchange. They make billions of dollars. They've also been responsible for a lot of the major forest fires that's happened and grass fires that's happened in California over the last few years. With wind and stuff, their lines have blown down and sparked the fires and stuff like that. They were responsible for the Paradise Fire, which burned down the entire city and displaced an entire population. Their transmission lines got blown down and sparked steel and got on fire. PG&E can be quite expensive. They have a lot higher rate. PG&E used to be, I don't know if you remember or know of a company called Enron. They went bankrupt in the George Bush presidency, but they were, well, they were a whole other joke. I won't go too deep into it, but basically, they were a for-profit company that owned electrical transmission lines and stuff like that, and they would play games like doing blackouts and stuff like that intentionally to make people pay higher premiums. I'm not saying that PGE is Enron, because that whole company went bankrupt and the people that were in it, some of them went to jail, some of them killed themselves, some of them died, and all that good stuff. But that's where PG&E was formed, was from the bones of Enron. Anyhow, I don't like PG&E. I have to use them for gas here at my house, which we're slowly getting rid of all that and trying to go all electric here. We use SMUD, and SMUD is a community-owned electric utility, nonprofit, and so it's got community boards that vote on it and run the electrical deal, and the rates are a lot cheaper, and they've got some great incentives, especially if you want to go all electric. I just replaced the old gas furnace and air conditioner that I had in my home that during this last winter was costing me $400 to $500 a month to heat my house. It was just insane. Anyhow, I was able to replace it with a brand new high efficiency variable speed electrical unit, and they gave me $3,500 in rebate to help pay for the change out. So yeah, SMUD is the way to go. So if you can get in a district or buy a house in an area with SMUD, I recommend you try. If you can avoid PG&E, I recommend you try. It might not be possible if it's an area that you want to move into that's close to your work, because PG&E is the largest electrical provider in the area. But SMUD is the best, in my opinion. They also, because I just recently bought an electric car, they also offer incentives for home chargers and stuff for your electrical car, and give you a very special rate overnight at their way off peak hours from 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. to charge your car. So yeah, if you're thinking about going electric once you get here, then SMUD is where you want to be. Definitely is. Other than that, you just have to know the certain areas to go for. You know, some people are going to say, "Oh, well, you know, we've heard there's a lot of crime in Sacramento," and they could be right. There is certain areas of Sacramento does have rising crime, and you're going to have to know which areas to buy into. I can't tell you one way or the other, because that would be steering, and I could get deep trouble for it. But NICHE.org has a lot of information on what's the best area to buy into, what's considered some of the safest neighborhoods and stuff like that. Plus, the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office has a neighborhood breakdown of areas. So any area you're gonna move into, I suggest you that you spend a little time getting to know the area, looking at the crime rates and stuff like that. Also look at the high schools and the grade schools and things like that if you've got kids and you want to move into this area. If you get in touch with me, I'll be glad to help you out and give you all the sites and stuff that you can do the research on to get that information. Because it is very important. It's something you definitely want to check out. Personally, the area I'm in, I feel as safe as can be. It's got a lot of people that walk up and down the street. There's a park down the street, and we've got people walking their dogs and their children and everything else all day long up and down the street, going to the park and walking around the park and doing picnics in the park and playing games in the park. It's just a fine, family-friendly area, and I live on a cul-de-sac, and all the neighbors here, we all watch out for each other, and we've all got cameras and stuff like that. In case anybody does come into our cul-de-sac, we know about it, and we watch out for each other. But, as I said, it all depends on what area you move into. And I'm not in a fancy area. My house is not a, multi-million-dollar home or anything like that. It's just an average working man's neighborhood, and it's some place I moved when we first got here, and we fell in love with the house. It was an old house. We had to do a lot of remodeling to get it up to our specs, but we put a new kitchen, new bathrooms, things like that, and put our personal touch on it, and we love the house. And so there's a lot of houses like that. I'll be glad to help you, direct you to any of those. But again, that's something you need to work out for, and there are certain areas that do flood. You don't flood often here in Sacramento. This year has been extremely wet. We got a lot of snowpack up in Tahoe, and that snowpack is going to start melting, and the rivers are going to start flooding, and things like that. So you want to make sure that you're in the right area and avoiding all of that. Of course, that again is in your natural hazard disclosure forms, but you also want a good guide and realtor in this area that can guide you and make sure that you're buying in a safe area, and you're buying in an area that it's not going to flood on you. So yeah, those are some of the things that I think I would like to have known before I moved here. I'd also like to know, because some of the places I looked at, I thought, well, they're not too far from where, the wife's going to be going to work. So maybe we should look over there. And we looked over in a lot of areas that we turned out when we got here. We found out, if we had bought there, it would have been an hour and a half drive to get to where she needed to go. Simply because they didn't look that far on the map, but considering the only way you could get there was by certain side streets and stuff, they get a lot of traffic in the mornings and stuff like that. It would have been quite an uncomfortable commute for her. We're lucky. The area we got into, the commute is about 15 minutes for her, even though we're a little bit further away. But it turned out to be a great area for us, and we're happy with it. But that's something else you want to take in. You want somebody to consider when you're doing it. You want somebody to say, hey, if you're working here and you're buying here, you might understand it's going to take you a long time to get there every morning in the afternoons. So yeah, that's just something to think about. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If there's anything I can do for you, reach out and get in touch with me. I'll be glad to help you. As I say, we get people all the time that reach out to us. They look at these videos and go, hey, can you tell me, can you help me? And I'll be glad to, give you any information. Free and no obligation. If you don't want to use me as a realtor, I understand. If you do want to use me as your realtor, I'll be more than happy to help you out any way I can. Either way, I'll be more than happy to help you out any way I can and answer any questions you got. Reach out, let's get in talk, and get in touch, and let's talk about it. And if you like it, so hit the subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the bell button. Get notified whenever I put up a new video. We're trying to do one or two a week at least, and you might find one that you really like. So get in touch. Thanks.